Hello.
Hi, Brajesh.
Hi, Soumya. You can hear me, right? Let's see if there is any
Yes,
audience, if anybody has joined.
sure.
Um, if anyone is there who has joined the broadcast, please let me know if you can hear me. Okay.
Today's a Saturday, a weekend.
All right. No, yeah, okay. So Faiz and Sachin are there. Okay. So, hey, Faiz, hey, Sachin. So, if nobody's joined, then I have a lot of questions for you. So,
Oh, great. I
okay.
told you, you can do an M, but not an R.
All right. People won't understand that on the on live, but
Uh,
that's our code.
uh,
Anyways,
Correct.
anyways, welcome everybody to another
Thank you.
episode of What Lies Beneath Ask Me Anything session. With me today is my good friend, my brother from another mother, Soumya Mukherjee. He is a friend I have known for almost a decade now,
Yeah.
and he is my go-to guy for any sort of technical question, anything to do with technology. He's the go-to person. He has answers ready for almost every question that I have, and I can't forget the day when I was supposed to, submit a proposal on a desktop automation solution that I was working on. And I just gave him a call and I asked him, is this correct? And he just thought about it and said, yeah, this is correct, but you may add, you know, he gave me two other examples and I just went to work and then, added those two examples and my client was super impressed. So that is what you get from him. You give him a problem and you give him possible solutions. He will validate your solution and give you a few other solutions. So he's that kind of a person, a great guy. He has mentored almost 6,000 people, almost somewhere in
Yeah.
your career. Yeah, close to that. So he's mentored a lot of people. He's been mentoring still, and now he has joined one of the FANG companies. So it'll be an interesting conversation with him. To the show, Soumya.
Nice. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Brajesh. And like you are my big brother, and as always, uh, like we actually share a lot of stuff together. We have a same mindset, I would say, and that I cherish. At least, if I want to talk to somebody, I know that I can go to Brijesh and talk. So at least that is where I love to talk about.
Thank you, Soumya. Thank you. It feels good that somebody has the same mindset just as you and there are endless discussions that we have had on various topics.
Correct. So
So
I'll tell you why the same mindset. I'll tell you. I think one of the most important factor for any individual is to listen. Okay, and I think we both now have reached to a point that we have the capacity to listen to people. Okay, and probably not become judgmental on what the other person is saying, and first listen to it, and then probably if only the person asks for something, we now give, or else we listen and we absorb, we keep it, and we just put it in a refrigerator in a corner, right? So that ways, our mindset are really like,
so
other hmm, that's one of the example.
yeah. So Soumya, one of the most popular stories about you is how you got started with testing,
Oh god.
and the world knows that your wife played a very important part in it,
Yeah, it
and
is.
she was in fact the motivation for you to become a tester. Can you shed some more light on that story?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll go back 15 years back. Okay, when I started my career with L&T Infotech. It's a fantastic company to work with. uh, it gave us, I got almost 2 3 more offers than with, along with LNT, but I chose LNT because it was a smaller company and somebody told me that, smaller company would give you a lot of knowledge. So I started with the company. So I met this girl called as Garma, okay, in LNT, okay, and our romance started from there. Okay, and so I started my career as a developer. Okay. So LNT, what LNT would do is LNT would take those psychometric tests, in your 3 4 months of your training, and then they will place you. Okay, you are supposed to go to this compartment, something like that. So she went to BFS, I went to insurance, and I was a .NET developer. Okay. I was good with coding since my college, and but .NET was something very different because I was predominantly working on Linux and Java in my college. So what used to happen is that we used to create this insurance application, and I used to spend nights and nights in office. Like, I used to get work at 4 p.m. saying that, you need to complete it today. Okay, and I used to come home at 2 a.m. I'm giving you an elaborated story, so don't fall asleep. So, I used to see that, Garima used to go at 9 a.m. in the morning and she used to come by 6 p.m. She used to take the evening bus to go to home. And I said, yeah, my salary is the same, and my experience is the same. Why is that she only does 8 hours and I do 16 hours? Because if there is a production issue, who's being called at office and then, fix that stuff. So once I asked her, what is that you are doing? Like, my salary and everything is same. What is that you guys do? So she told me what she said, testing. I said testing. Like, I have never heard of testing because, we used to always code and put it in production. This is the zip file. You put it there, in an inetpuff folder, and the website will be up and running. So then she asked me, no, we also code in testing. I said, and I got fascinated about that, about coding. Then I asked her that, okay, do you guys write conditions? Yes. Loops? Yes. Wow. Okay. Connect to database? Yes. I said, yeah, I'm also doing the same thing, and they're also doing the same thing, same package, same experience, same everything. 8 hours, 15 hours. Not, something is wrong somewhere. So then I started talking about, more about QA and understanding, what they're doing. And that time they were studying about ISTQB, and I'm very bad with theory, to be very frank. So, uh, so I somehow managed to switch from coding to testing. Okay, so I thought that, and they used to code in QTP. That time QTP is very very at a very early stage where the object repository was also not integrated with the tool, it was separate. So I learned that tool, and my first project was in performance. Then I learned and done manual testing, and then the story starts. So this is the story. This is why I'm in testing. It's an accident, I would say.
But yeah, good things happen to good people. So we are glad that you're in testing and you've been there for a decade and a half, and that's a lot of experience. And you have, during these 15 years, moved from working from L&T to becoming an entrepreneur, and you've done all that. So we will visit all those corners of your of your professional life. But so in these 15 years, how have you seen the industry evolve with regards to testing?
To be very frank, it has not evolved. And don't get me wrong. People would say that, technology has changed. I would say, okay, but the mindset is the same. Like, I would quote one thing, like, one of the things when we used to write proposals in our early days, right? We used to always tell the client that open source tool, this is the approach, this is how you will test. Same thing is happening today also. Same tools. So the tool per se, every time you go and talk to people, they will talk about tools. Okay, but So the mindset about that tool has not changed. The mindset about automating your test cases has not changed. Okay, mindset about the way you are identifying the coverage has not changed. Those are classic fundamentals probably, but now the world needs something else. Okay, classic testing won't work now. The classic testing is just a part now. Okay? It will still there. It will not be dead. But the mindset I would say has not changed, Vijesh. You know, tools were the mindset before. Tools is the mindset now. No, people don't think about scaling the solution. People want to reinvent. They say that they don't want to reinvent the wheel, but they want to reinvent the wheel. That is what is the thing.
And would it be fine? Would it be correct to say that an example of that is people trying to build framework upon framework upon framework uh, when there is stuff already existing and can be reused, and people can actually utilize their skills in a much better way than to just repeat the same things again and again.
Correct. So I'll tell you how it is. Like I'll just take I'll take a context from the actual tech. So initially, when we started our career, they were Perl, they were .NET, they were Java, standard tech. What we used to do is use the tech. Okay. Then now the concept is that you have front end, you have back end, you have React, you have Angular. The frameworks have come in. People have adopted the framework, the standard framework. But QA has not done that way.
Yeah.
QA did not say that this is the framework, use it. Okay? What people would do is they will use the framework and write the framework on top of it. Right? But we do not do it in basic tech, isn't it? We don't do it. We don't say that React is giving me a wrapper. Let me write a wrapper over it and then I will use it. We don't do that with the why are we not doing with that dev tech? We don't do that. Right? So the mindset is that one framework is there. Oh, there is one use case that has come. Rather than putting that feature in that particular framework, they will say, okay, the framework is scrap. Let us do something else. But how do you like when you design a framework? Now, I started emphasizing this from last 7-8 years now that emphasize on the design first. Okay, don't start implementing it. Implementation is something which you can do with anything, right? So people would not listen. People would want to learn framework, how to write the framework, but they will not scale.
So you've used a very important word, in my opinion, a very important term, design. And whether it is designing your experiments when it comes to testing,
Yeah.
or designing your test automation framework or whatever, why do you think testers do not pay attention to design?
Because they want to automate test cases and increase the coverage.
So what
It's
is the
just they
problem?
no,
So
that
what?
is
Okay. Before you get there, okay, let's get this. Okay, there is a lot of misconception or confusion over the term coverage. What is coverage according to you?
I would always say it is the requirement coverage. Okay.
Mhm.
So a user has asked me to write. Let's assume I create a car, okay, or manufacture a car. I would look into the nitty-gritties of that particular requirement, like break down that requirement to sub requirements, okay, and then try to you know r- wrap the tests around that requirement. Okay, but what people will do, people would right now I don't know, like people don't see things as a scenario. Okay, they don't consider requirement. They said, okay, these are the scenarios, these are the cases. That's it. Okay, but I have seen that people are not emphasizing more on traceability. But for me, the coverage is always requirement. How am I covering my requirement through my tests? Always.
And if I may add to that, for me, It is requirements and risks.
Hmm.
Okay, am I covering the risks? Because looking at the requirements, understanding things, going a little deeper, I will obviously get to understand the risks that I have, and are my tests covering those risks also is something that I would look for.
Correct.
So
So
okay,
what we hmm.
sorry, go ahead.
So what we do is, when you cover the tests with the requirement, then you categorize it like which are my critical ones. Basically, you prioritize them. Okay,
Mhm.
because obviously the mindset is to automate first. So what to automate first? Okay, don't automate everything. Getting me? So it is always risk driven approach that you know uh, should be taken. Because it hurts the business.
So no, that's a very good point. Now, uh, so I have seen that when people start thinking about automation, they start looking for test cases which I can automate or put it in my framework or whatever. But there is no emphasis or no focus at all on trying to do some analysis to find out what can actually be automated and what cannot be automated. So, how do you address that problem?
Okay, that's a classic problem actually. Okay, and I will not quote the project and the company where I worked, okay, but we did the mistake of so you used to remember, like older days, how do we write the scenarios and cases, right? We used to get a document called as design specs, right? The requirement specification document, and we used to write the scenarios from that specification document rather than right now people say they because there's no documentation right today. Right. So we used to derive the scenarios and then write the cases. Okay. We wrote the cases for the entire module, probably 300, 400, 500 cases. Okay. And the client looked at our cases and said that this is this cannot be tested. This is non-testable requirement. So I would say that before we actually go to that, what to automate and what not to automate, first you need to see whether it is testable, not testable.
Correct.
What you have to see is that whether you have the data and your verification points available, okay, to basically test that particular requirement. Only then you can go forward and say that yes, it can be. Now, whether it can be automable or not automable, first you need to see whether it is testable. So looking at the requirement, nobody can say that whether it is automable, not automable. Obviously, if you have prior experience of doing that scenario, you will get to know. But say for an example, if somebody is starting fresh, you will not know. So the best way, or so what? Obviously, there has to be a wireframe, that can be there, or there is some architecture that people can see and understand, how the data would flow or how the screens can come and like that. So on that basis, people can do the analysis and understand whether it is can be automated or not.
Yeah.
What I generally do when I start a project, I directly talk to users. I said, okay, what are the things that you are going to test when this product would come in? Give me that information. So I backtrack. Okay. So you remember, like we used to go that we follow that V&V model, right? Unit testing, integration, system, UAT.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I generally now do is I go to UAT direct, okay, and say that okay, now give me the user, like if the application is already running and I want to put QA in it, how do I put QA in it? I go to users, take the test that they will do, backtrack, come here, and expand them. Okay. If I expand them, the user scenarios, users are happy because I am covering the cases that they are
Yep.
testing. And I am also expanding and I'm increasing the coverage of the requirements, saying that okay, these are the positive cases that we would do, these are the negative ones that I'll do. Something like that. I may go overboard, but you need to stop me in between. Okay. I get passionate
No,
about
no,
this.
no, no, no. That's absolutely fine. Now,
Okay, so did I answer your
you,
question?
yeah, yeah, you did, and you brought a couple of very interesting points. One is testability, the other one is automatability. Now, in a lot of projects, these two are extremely ignored, uh, you know, attributes, if I may say so. Okay, people don't even talk about testability. I do not know when I last heard, testers actually talking about, hey, is this actually testable or not?
Mm.
So they're like, oh, we've got a requirement, let's jump into writing test cases. Why is there this mad rush about test cases? Is something that I want to understand. Can you not test without test cases, Soumya?
You can.
Then why? Why do we need test cases?
Okay. So I'll tell you, uh, and you can like beep it. Can people may feel very offended with this. First of all, people don't respect QA. Okay. I come from a dev background, but I'm saying that. Okay. They don't respect. For them, still QA is the last 1 hour job that before putting into production, they have a compliance that they need a sign off. That is the reason they're coming to QA and doing the QA.
Yeah, exactly
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Now the problem is that 1 hour that we are getting as a QA, obviously there will be bugs because you're not giving a specific time to test it. So now, as a developers, I will not say developers, but stakeholders, okay, would say that the bugs are coming, testers have not done their job. Correct?
Yeah.
They, but you need to see what is the root cause of it. We do root cause analysis, correct? QA are the first person who do the root cause.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, coming back to your question. So we get only 1 hour, we get blamed for the defects, but actually the QA is the responsible for each of the person who are actually involved in the project.
Right.
So everybody's responsibility. It's not QA's responsibility. Right? Okay. So now in that 1 hour, okay, to save, like I will not say myself QA, to save the face of the QA, what we put is a quantifiable stuff in between and say that, boss, I only tested this much. These are my cases,
Mm.
right? Over and below of this, if the bug comes,
Not my responsibility.
not my responsibility. So to quantify it, you need cases. It's a quantification problem. That one
So,
hour, nobody will acknowledge exploratory. Okay? Nobody will acknowledge your automation also, even if you do not have. If you have cases, if you say that I'm 30% coverage, 70% I'm not because you gave me 1 hour, I can save my face. That is the reason you need cases. And I'm sorry to my QA fraternity, like dev fraternity, whoever is listening to this, may feel wrong, but this is actually the truth.
no, this
Anywhere you go,
this is exactly what is happening. And I saw a post where somebody said that in a sprint of 2 weeks, they're
mm,
working with Scrum, and they say in a sprint with 2 weeks, we get only last 2 days for testing,
mm,
and then when there is a bug in production, we are the ones who are blamed. So it is, in a way, pointing to what you said. It's that last 1 hour is equal to 2 days in a sprint.
correct.
So
But I can
yeah,
also tell them how to save and how you are blaming the system that you got only 1 hour at the end. Nobody has stopped you to not get involved in that 99 hours.
exactly,
Why are you
exactly,
waiting for the dev to give you like, boss, this is the feature? You get into the code, start doing those early verifications, okay, and then you can add lot of stuff during that time when they're developing, so that you're absolutely ready when they say give you the code in your platter, okay, and you just be a samurai.
so let me ask you this. Okay, testers getting involved early, how early do you think testers can get involved. Do you think testers can help with unit testing?
Yeah, obviously. Why not? I have written unit cases for developers. Okay, there are a lot of people in the community who would promote BDD. Okay, why can't we use BDD? Okay, can BDD be used in unit testing? Yes, you can use. So take the story, write the test, and let the developer do whatever they want. It can't be done. Yes, we can. Testers can start helping developers in writing the unit cases also. Testers can start code coverage uh, tasks also. Testers can contribute into code quality also. Testers can contribute into security also of the code, scanning and everything. Right?
I've got a
It
comment.
is.
I've got a comment, and I sorry, continue. I will ask you my question after you
So
finish.
what I'm saying is that QA is not restricted. That's what I'm saying. You have to remove this blockage from your mind that QA would only start when I will get a finished product. No, it is absolutely not.
Right, right. So there is this comment that has come in that some management needs the quantity of test cases instead of quality of test cases.
Yeah.
So if the management asks me for quantity of test cases,
Hmm.
how do I bring their attention to the quality of tests
Okay.
rather than quantity? What can I do to change the management mindset?
You're actually asking me all wrong questions today. Okay. I'm just kidding.
I'm the one
See,
asking questions, so I get that liberty, right?
I have seen people considering a test item or a test data as a test case,
Really?
a line item to a test case, to a actual test case wherein enter username, password, and the steps are there. Okay. They also would say that the button exists and all that stuff. Silly checks probably I would say would also cases and all, right?
Oh my god.
I have seen projects where people would say that I have 3,000, 4,000 cases, 5,000 cases. In fact, 7, 8,000 cases also. Okay. With a project of 8 pages, do you even have those 8,000 cases? Will you have it? You will only have it when you are saying that, okay, border is here, item icon is there, cross is here, and all that stuff. But you can wrap them up in one case.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is, to answer that is that you need to see how you are documenting the case. We can write one case parameterized into a data set, right? Or we can have multiple cases. You need to see how you need to do it. Quality and quantity is like very, I would say, it's a very, it's a word which is like can't be explained that way. Quality determines a lot of factors, depends upon the application, depends upon the person, a lot of things.
Quality is indeed subjective. What is of high quality to you may not be of high quality to me.
Correct.
Okay, what is high quality for a developer may be of poor quality to a tester, and maybe of okay, acceptable quality to the product owner. So it entirely depends
That is
on.
what I was saying, that QA needs to quantify everything, right? That is the reason they increase the quantity of tests. Okay.
So I want to go in a slightly different direction now, and this is something that you have been doing of late. You've been helping a lot of testers transition from this world of manual
Manual.
testing to, to test automation. So since you are here, since you are available,
Mm.
what is the first of all, what is the mindset there? Secondly, what needs to change if somebody has to? become an automation tester and excel in test automation?
Okay. Two questions. Okay. So I'll probably take the first one. Okay. I'll talk about the mindset first. Okay. Most of the people whom I have spoken with, okay, they either fear coding, okay, they don't want to code. Second type of people is they know a bit of it, but they don't know how to scale. Third is they know a lot of things, but when they go and give probably interviews or you know want to learn something else, they have problems. Okay, so when I talk to a person, I basically have those buckets. Where do you fall? What is your actual challenge? Okay, I never say to any one of them, "Did I lose you?"
No, I'm here. You just went full screen. That's it.
No, I want to see you, obviously, because or else I don't know whom I'm speaking with. Anyways, so what I was saying is that I basically put people in the buckets. Okay, I never tell them to stop manual QA. I never tell them that you should not do it. I always tell them you do it. Okay? Why do you want to do automation? Is to save time of the project. That's my whole intention. How do you save time in the project? Okay. So when I talk about the mindset, when people say that I fear coding, there are people who would say that okay, there are so many things in the world. Where should I start? They don't fear, but they don't know. Okay, so I tell people that there is never a capability challenge with any person. If Brijesh doesn't know anything, I can explain him and he will learn. We are humans, we will learn. Brijesh may understand in one time, Soumya Mukherjee may take 5 times. It's only the iteration. So there is not there is never a capability problem, there is an opportunity problem. So there is a mindset problem. These are the problems that are there in the individual.
So, okay, sticking to the first question, I'll come back to the second question. Sticking to the first question, you said that there is a fear of coding. In my experience, I have noticed that a lot of testers don't want to admit that fear at the first place. They simply say, "No, I'm uncomfortable." Okay.
So it all depends which forum are they talking. So when you go to a doctor, you talk all private things, right? With the
Yeah,
doctor.
yeah, yeah.
The doctor, I have मुझे यहाँ दुख रहा है. But in the public, I would say I am absolutely fine. There's a little pain, but that's fine.
No, even
So
even in closed door conversations,
okay,
or one-on-one mentorship sessions, a lot of people don't seem to admit that fear,
that's
thinking
okay.
that accepting that fear will put them down. Okay, number one, that has been my experience. Okay, I can actually sense that there is that fear, but the person does not admit, and until somebody admits, you can't say, right, no, 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 I can sense. That doesn't happen that way.
So
And
what
that,
I do is,
yeah.
so what I do is, okay, like if I sense and people are not accepting, right, I
Mhm.
give them a problem to do. Okay, I give them a problem to do, and I say that okay, do this problem. If you need my counseling, if you want to talk to me next time, you do all these things and come back. Okay, you will get to understand, my mindset.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So before I go to the next question, the next part of the question, there is this thing interesting coming in from Casey. Casey says, but how much is automation helping? We always end up thinking, developing new frameworks, maintaining automation scripts. And are people thinking, does automation catch all bugs? Now, is automation actually about catching bugs?
No.
So
Automation will help you in the process of catching bugs.
that's right.
Automation. Okay. Why do we want to do even automation? If you look at the entire cycle of development, the only one thing that people want to save time is in QA all the time, isn't it? Development will happen till 98th day, but 2 days you will get it for QA. How is going QA going to test those 98 days effort of development? You need automation. You need to save time, bring that cycle time of QA in those 2 days time. That is how you need to do automation. And in the process, while you're automating, you're executing, you're finding defects that you would have got in manual, isn't it?
Right.
So it is. I would say that it is like common sense. You know that why do you want to do automation? That is.
Well, okay. So now I go back to the second part of the question. If I am a manual tester,
Mm-hmm.
I have, I have been calling myself as a manual tester, and I have 12 years of experience. Um, I don't find any opportunities outside. I'm looking, everybody is asking for coding, coding, coding.
Mm-hmm.
How do I switch over? How do I get into automation? How do I get started? Where do
Okay.
I begin?
Okay. I'll answer you in a different way. If you want to learn cooking, would you learn cooking in a restaurant or would you start cooking in your home?
Cooking in my house, of course. Yeah.
Obviously, right? So you start in your house first. That means in the company that you are in, you have to first see what are the opportunities. Even if there is a framework available, there are people who come and say that there is always a framework available. QA automation team is already there. Okay, I tell them go and understand what they are writing. Okay, so you actually start in your house to understand what are the opportunities, options that you have, and start building on it. So let's say take an example. I was mentoring somebody in one company. He said that I know automation and everything, but still he's counseling, okay, with me. I don't know why. And he said that I don't know what to do. I said, okay, don't you have use cases, okay, outside your group that you can do? He said, yeah, there is one. I said, go and do it. Nobody is stopping you to contribute at any part of the product,
Yeah.
right? You can take it, look the opportunity, see what things you would need, and then start doing it. Did I answer your question, Videsh? You can stop me if I don't. That I understand. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So if like did I answer your question? Like what I'm saying is that if you want to start, you start at home.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
And then you see what are the things that I need. Okay. What are the ingredients that I need to
Mhm.
cook a dal? You would need a lentils first. You would need salt. You would need spices. You need whatever. Right. Have
Mhm.
those ingredients ready. So for automation, you need an application or a use case to automate. But first of all, you need to first understand whether that needs automation or not.
Yeah.
Okay, that is the first thing.
Yeah. I remember this example from one of your talks where you said that when you do a 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 in an Excel sheet by applying a formula,
Yeah,
that's also automation,
correct.
right? So not many people understand that bit, and that is where the problem is.
Yeah,
For a lot of people, in my opinion, automation is about selenium. Automation is about Appium, all those tools, those fancy names, so that they can put it in their resume. You know. So
I,
how
I, I, te-
what?
I want to tell them that one thing, Rajesh. Okay, let's assume that you started riding a Maruti 800. Can you not drive a Mercedes?
Okay.
You can, right? So if you know one tool, why are you running into all other tools? You just pick up, like for an example, you want to. There are you problem statements available, right? You understand the problem statements and then see what would fit in. But knowing one tool is enough to get the basics. I tell people about automation and I say that if you want to do UI automation, there are only four things which are necessary. Okay. One is the object. Okay. That is you see on the screen. There's a button on the screen. I want to click on that button. To identify that object, you need a locator. Okay. Once you identify that object, you have to do an event. You want to click, you want to set, you want to select, and then if the object needs the data, you pass the data.
Yeah.
You pick up any tool. Does it go about over this? Does it go over this? No. You take UTP. It started. It's an only win runner,
Yeah.
right? Object repository. Okay. You have mandatory properties, assistive properties. What are those? Locators.
Correct.
You have event, right? Browser dot page dot, right?
Yeah.
Set value and value. Set value is what? Is an event. You take Selenium, driver dot find element. You're finding an element. Buy dot expa. That means I'm passing a locator. Dot send keys event and the data. Has anything changed from QTP to Selenium?
Nothing. Okay. So that's a very interesting answer. And I'm sure people who are listening will actually scratch their head for a bit and see that it's that simple. So again, sticking to the same point, what qualities do I need to be a good automation tester?
What qualities do you need? Okay. It's an interesting question. It depends upon what level are you in. Okay. Like for
Suppose
an
I'm
example,
suppose I'm starting.
you're
Okay,
just
I'm just
starting.
starting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough. So if you're starting, if you do not know anything, you just know you're manually writing your cases, scenarios, or whatever it is. Okay. Okay. So if for an example you would write cases and scenarios and all that stuff, right? Okay. So when you are starting, I always say for automation, you need a tool. To run a tool, you need a tech. So first learn the tech.
yeah,
So you need to learn fun programming language.
yeah,
Any programming language that you like or that you feel is simple. Nowadays, people like Python. Why? Because after QA, they want to go in data science. Right? So they like Python now. Earlier, 2 years back, they used to like Java. Because they can switch job. Anyways, I'm being sarcastic here. So what I was trying to say is that you need one tech. Okay. Then you need one tool. Okay. Then you need one use case. Let's take a simple use case. As I want to search something in Google. Okay. Now people would do this. Okay. But one thing, basic thing that they will not apply here, which is QA.
testing.
They will automate it, but they will not put a check.
Yeah,
QA is all about check. So you need to validate whether the search that you are doing in Google is appearing or not. So you validate. So you need those asserts and validations stuff, right? So you need to have a QA mindset, and aiding with a tool and a tech is enough. Okay, but apart from this, obviously, when you're learning tech, you need DS and algo. Why is that so? You just need AS first.
mhm,
Algo would only come if there are complex use cases. Something like there is millions of data that I'm getting and I need to do a recon of the data.
yeah,
You need an algo. So you need to first understand what kind of problem statement it is. Start with some basic one, because you remember, like like you're a father of a boy, I'm a father of a girl. Okay. The first thing probably our parents have, my father has done is when we used to play cricket, he used to always give us easy ball. Why is that so? Because if I hit it outside the boundary, I would get confidence.
yeah,
So you have to start with the six. That is the reason. Take google.com, do a selenium search, see whether selenium is appearing. Basic simple stuff. Once you get that, you understand how the tool runs, because you know the tech now, but now you need to understand how the tool works. What people do is they don't understand how the tool works, but they start doing automation. So if a
Right.
googly comes in, you will get bold. So you need to first understand what is the architecture of the tool, how does the tool work, what are integrations can it do, okay, what kind of output can it generate, what kind of validations can it perform, all such things. Okay,
Right.
these are the basic stuff that you can do to switch to automation. But validation is important, so do not leave the QA part of it.
That's a very important point. With this, I will move on to a question from Faiz. And Faiz
Hmm.
is asking how to convince people who come from for advice that getting the basics right is more beneficial than quickly learning many things in automation in a shallow manner, even though it takes more time.
Okay, interesting thing back to face. Okay, now I'm getting confidence. I'm just kidding. So my brother Fez, have you ever seen WWE? Okay, so in WWE, most of the fights that you would see is that the person who would come get a good beating first.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other person's confidence automatically goes up, isn't it? So when people are coming for the advice, you need to show them the right picture. See, this is the mirror. This is you. Okay. Why am I coming to you for advice? Because I want to go better, be better. Tell them you get everything. Like I have spent 16 years. Brijesh is my mentor. He spent almost 20 years. Rome is not built in a day. We have spent 16 years of our time in the industry. So don't tell them that 1 month is not enough to do this. You need to create a roadmap for them, a project plan for them. That is the duty of a mentor who is actually mentoring the person. Give them that thing that okay, you need to do this, do this, do this, do this. Show them the picture. You are here right now. We can go where you want, but before that, you need to do all these things. Getting my point? Like, am I making sense?
No, absolutely, absolutely.
So what I do generally is that when I start mentoring, I show them the picture. See, this is the industry. This is you. This is what we have to do to reach here. Are you ready to do it? If you're not ready to do it, then I know you, you know me. We'll connect in LinkedIn. Thank you very much. Like, love, insightful. Okay. But if you want to follow me, if you want to learn from me, you need to follow some rules and basics from me. And I always teach the basics first. You do the basics, come to me, and then do it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's a very interesting point, and you spoke about uh, mentorship. I mean, you have been mentoring so many people, and recently we were both a part of. We've been both a part of a program that was organized so well by our good friend Pooja.
Yes, it
She's,
is.
a
She's
special, uh, a special mention to her.
yes.
A big shout out to Pooja for all
Correct.
the cool things that she's doing,
Correct.
that she has been doing. She's exceptional. Okay, she goes out, wins contests, talks in tech conferences, goes there, goes somewhere else, dances for a bit, comes back, does some serious stuff for the society,
Mm.
then wins another award somewhere. So she's really an inspiration. But anyways, the point is that as a part of the mentorship exercise, we've learned a good deal about how to take care of these things,
Correct.
and to your point, you know laying that roadmap is very important. And if somebody's coming to you with that kind of a question, you will obviously want to understand, okay, what next, where am I going?
So we are a doctor, right? When you go to a doctor, he writes a prescription. Why does he write a prescription? He will not say, okay, take as he will not say like that, right? He'll write a prescription, say that, okay, you take this morning one, evening one, like that. So mentorship is also that part. So
Yeah,
same thing.
exactly. And before writing the prescription, he has to do the diagnosis, and
Exactly.
for that he has to understand the problem. Basically, get the symptoms
Absolutely.
right. Yeah. So great example. Now here is the question from Sachin.
Hmm.
So, what according to you are important metrics that need to be considered in order to showcase testing progress, either success or failure? Metrics.
So there are a lot of matrices. Okay, I would say. Uh, okay. Before I answer this, I want to ask Sachin question back, right? How do you know that your QA is actually working or not? Success and failure is a thing of the future. How is a QA working? Okay. How do you know whether you're creating adding value to it? Matrices are some things which, so if you say that I'm 100% automated, does it add value to the project,
No.
or a success or a failure? No, right? So what do? So you try to see that whether my automation are identifying any defects, which I could not do it through manual. So you try to create a metric saying that, okay, how many defects I'm getting through my automation,
Hmm.
right? And then tell the stakeholders that how important automation is, right? So what I generally do is nowadays is that I do an assessment of my QA itself, saying that, okay, QA is not about only UI automation or API automation. QA is something which starts from the design.
Mhm.
Okay, so when people will start coding, we will see that whether I have uh, I'm doing something for my code coverage, code quality. Okay, whether I have a if I have a CI pipeline, am I hooking on my QA onto my CI pipeline? So do the maturity, assessment of your QA first.
Right.
And then the matrices would come in, because it will generate a lot of data for you. Okay, so showing that, like a defect density metric or something like that, these days stakeholders does not, is not very interested.
Right.
Okay, what stakeholders needs is that how can I, have good quality product. You getting my point? Stakeholders are only interested in understanding whether they are good quality, whether that production defect or any defects that you've got, which module, that's okay, that's fine. Okay, so there is no true matrice to basically determine whether it is a success or a failure. You do your work. Okay, what you do is you minimize the number of production issues. So I'll give you two things, Sachin, that you can do. Sachin, right?
Yeah.
One thing, you go back, tell your developers, ask your developers, do you have application logs? Obviously, they should have. Do an analysis how many exceptions are coming in the log. Try to bring down that exceptions in the log. How do you do it? You take all the data out of exceptions and say that these are my top 5 exceptions, and these are coming like 50 times whenever this module runs or whatever it is, and they need to fix it. What are you doing exactly is stabilizing your product and increasing the quality of the product. That's the success. Reducing exceptions in the program. Second, go and check your how many defects you are getting in production. Do the root cause analysis. See where is the gap. Why is it not that you are not able to catch, or anybody in the process is able to catch? If you can reduce it, if you say that, okay, I had 20 defects in production, now I have 5 defects, that's a success. But it also correlates to the amount of code that gets into the production. So you need to do that correlation. Am I making sense? So
Yes, you are.
reducing the number of production issues, reducing the number of exceptions in the code, okay, are the true matrices through which you can determine whether you are successful or your product is like a failure. If, for example, if you do not do QA at all, obviously production issues will increase, right? And
Right.
you're minimizing it. Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that you're minimizing it, right? By putting your QA, right? So every project you can implement these two, obviously, and then defects by automation. And then if you want, one of the most important thing, one metrics which I track is the cycle time reduction. Not many people do it. They don't bother. They said, yeah, chal raha hai code, let it run. You know, automation, it's running, it's fine. But how am I decreasing my cycle time? So what I tell my QA today is, if you're automating the feature, then you will not touch it manually, and let's see what happens. Right? So reduction of cycle time is another metric that you can track and which can correspond to a success and failure.
Though that is a very important one because the whole premise of test automation is built on reducing the time to market for the customer. And we know that testing, if you look at the big picture, is all about feedback loops. And the smaller your feedback loop, the smaller will be your time to market. So it is all about reducing the cycle time, like you said. So if automation is not helping you achieve that very simple thing, then it is surely a failure. I mean, in very simple words. And what you suggested is also right. That you want to see the efficiency, then don't touch it. Okay, see what it does. The moment you touch it manually, it's like a driving instructor. You know, if you are learning to drive, and if the instructor always has to hold your steering, then you will never be successful.
So
So,
what I tell my stakeholders, okay, that I'm experimenting. QA, the first lesson that I learned, okay, is experimenting in QA.
yep,
Okay.
yep.
So I tell my stakeholders I'm experimenting. If I have done the automation, I'm not touching it manually. And if we get defects, then we'll do a root cause and see whether I have the automation. One, if I do not have the automation, have the manual scenarios or whatever. Like something like that. And then the execution metrics and all that stuff I don't care about. Okay. That does not determine your true success and failure.
Testing is about experimenting, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you design your experiments and learn from them.
Yes.
So at one point you said that Rome isn't built in a day. So here is a question again from Casey. Casey is asking, I agree that Rome is not built in a single day, but the current industry trend is completely different. If you see the groups forums, people are asking, what are the interview questions for XYZ ABC company? The question that he has is, do you have any idea what changed people to think this way, and how can this be corrected?
See, the mindset of the people cannot be corrected. Okay, that is the problem. We can't. I can't say, Brijesh, stop doing this. I can't tell my daughter, don't write on walls.
She does.
Basic. It's a basic. Yeah, it's a basic instinct, right? People would not change. So let's not talk about mindset. They will do whatever they want. Okay. Why does people say that what are the interview questions of XYZ company? Because they want to. They okay. I've stopped doing this now from like 5 6 years now. I stopped comparing myself with anybody else. My mother told me once, I'll probably be a little philosophical, not many people will like it. My mother told me once that you are very special to me. Okay, you are very special to me, and I take her words, and I'm very special, and I'm only the one Soumya Mukherjee. Why I should compare myself with British?
True.
I can collaborate with Brijesh and say that, Brijesh, let's work together.
Correct.
If Brijesh goes to XYZ company, which is the world most topmost company, why I should tell him that you take me in your company, right? I can say that you can refer me, right? If I want to be in that organization. But why am I comparing that if Brijesh is getting 1 CR, I should also get 1 CR?
True.
Brijesh may have different attributes which is determining his package or whatever it is to a certain level. I may or may not have that attribute, and I can't create one that attribute, right? So the main thing is that people starts comparing. Okay? When they see other person, going to any organization that they want to go, it's like I would say greed. I would say, okay, there's an ice cream that I want to have that ice cream. When you get inside, you only know that how is the taste of that ice cream. Oh, I thought it is a vanilla, but it was a butterscotch. Oh no, I was probably better on that side. Grass is greener on the other side.
Mm.
We can help them with the interview questions. No harm in understanding what are the questions. We did in our university, our school. What kind of questions, my university will ask. Let's see last 5, 6 years papers and try to determine. No harm in asking the question, but you stop doing the comparison that if he is earning 1 crore, I should also earn 1 crore. You will get there. Okay. So mindset, we cannot change people's mindset. Okay. And comparison is one of the problematic things, which I would say, right? So we can't, like, I cannot change mindset of anybody, and let people ask questions. It's no harm, because with the questions you will also understand whether you can derive the logic or the solution of that problem which has been asked. It's also good, right? In that ways, we used to always ask our friend in a university, hey, what is the question that you asked me? I don't know, right? Can you tell me this so I can prepare? So
Yeah.
why we have not stopped people in our universities and stopping people now? Let them do it. Like I don't know whether I'm answering the questions or not, but
No, no,
but this
you
is
are.
the
You are. That's a very practical take, actually. That's a very practical way of thinking. We often tend to follow what is like the ideal behavior, but that may put us in some sort of a different situation. But what you are saying is actually very pragmatic, you know, and does trigger a chain of thought, at least in me, and I'm sure the audience is also benefiting out of it. I see
see.
a very
I'll tell you
yeah,
one more thing. I have seen my friends. When I was hanging around, in whatever, they were like 10x of me, right? They are always my friends, right? And I can always ask them how they can reach 10x,
correct.
right? And try to see if I can do that. Like for an example, not everybody, like fear coding, as I said, right? But everybody can code. That's okay. You can go to program management. You can go to pure data analytics, right? If you are good with mathematics, if you're not good with coding, how does that matter, right?
Right,
So it's like that.
right. Now I have a there is a very interesting question from SS. I don't know what that SS stands for. So
Sure
pardon me
shot.
for that. Sorry?
Sure shot.
Sure shot. Okay. Superstar, maybe. Okay. So
Yes.
I'm a fresher in testing. Should I learn Django? Will it be useful?
Everything is useful. Everything is useful. Why? I'll tell you why. Why you should learn Django. You are learning Django, right? Right now, I'm taking an assumption that you're learning Django. One, you will know how the tech works. Second, you will know how the architecture is. It's very important. Third, you will try to put use cases and understand how the use cases, whether the use cases can be done with this tech or not. Then from Django, you may move to something else. I have taken now a natural path, which is that I know QA. Now I will do one step forward and do some engineering stuff. And I started learning over it. I started practicing it. Okay. So it's very helpful because if you understand the tech and how the technology works, how the architecture is, you can start applying that same thought process in some other tech also, right? So this you can create web pages, right? You know whether you can stream the data in, right? In other tech also you can put the same logic. So nothing harm.
Okay, so continuing on that discussion, and what I am curious to know, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to know. So you work for Apple, okay, and one of the FANG companies, the top five in the world. So two questions on that. Number one, what was your journey towards that? Okay, and number two, what kind of preparation did you have to do for that?
Okay. Uh, okay, let's not talk about fan. Okay, I'll tell you or
Okay,
Apple. Um, as I said that you have to learn, you have to stick to your basics, do good deeds. Okay, there is something called as good deeds. If you like, for an example, if you put somebody down, go up, okay, like that. If you do, people are observing. People are not stupid. Okay. One is good deeds. Second is stick to your basics. So I worked on my basics. Okay. I learned uh, I learned the product development pieces also. Okay. I was a developer in my own startup, but I understood how to scale it. Okay. So so my preparation or my journey is like, I had been also close to selection in one of the other fan companies also. Okay. I'll not take the name, but it's always the basics. And the rounds that they will also take is also the basic rounds. Okay. So DS algo, okay, system designing. Why is it necessary? They just want to understand whether you understand the tech correctly or not. I
right.
spend a lot of time on that. I spend a lot of time understanding how the actual cloud works. Okay. What are the use cases can we do on it? Okay. You won't believe that I did my masters in machine learning and AI out of my interest. Okay, I love to learn something, so I enrolled myself. I said, okay, let's see what it is. Okay, because I wanted to use that technology in my work. Okay, so this is the preparation that I did. If you talk about preparation, there are other things, but there are a lot of other things, which people have, you know, seen me doing. Okay, which I called it as good deeds. I do help a lot of people, which is recognized by other individuals in the network. Okay. And then one day I thought that, let's apply and see how it works out. I got a call, and since I am good with basics, you know, I got in. But believe me, it's tough. I would not say it's easy. There are a lot of different angle at which the companies do evaluate. And every company evaluates in that per se. I would not say that only FANG does. But this is something which I did. Which, did I answer the question?
No, yes, you of course you did. Now, obviously, when you hear about the FANG companies, people get a sense that, oh, it's number one, highly lucrative. Number two, it's a matter of pride to add that to your CV. So this question was on behalf of so many people, who are always curious. The moment they see the name of the company on your profile, they're like, how did this guy get in? I want to find out. Okay. So you're absolutely right that, first your basics and secondly your deeds. okay, play a play a very important role here. And we must not forget that in today's day, everybody's every movement is
It's
getting
been tracked.
noticed.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, people are looking at it. So what you write, what you speak, people are listening to you. People will understand the truth behind it. Sooner or later, people will find out, how much meat you have and how shallow it is, if it is. So yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Like for an example, I come from an environment, Brijesh, you will not believe that when I looked at few of the code and asked people what it does, they said that they don't know. Okay, so there are such kind of people also. That made me think that I will never do this to anyone. So if anybody approaches me, I never let them down. It is as simple as that. That's a good deed, isn't it?
Yep, yeah.
And I know the same thing than you. Like if anybody approaches you, you would not say no. You would at least listen to that person, right? And
Yeah.
I would say, and I was telling you before this particular, when the call started, right? I also told you that test chat is is the community which actually gave a lot of identity to a lot of new testers, or else there were only four, five, six. Thank you very much, people. Right? But the test chat gave a lot of identity to testers. Okay, they came out, they started talking. You get to learn a lot from them. I never miss a recording. I may not attend it live, but then I go back to the YouTube and I'll always listen it. So there are a lot of good insights. Yeah, correct.
No, thank you for mentioning that, and I want to highlight this. Um but before I highlight that, let me just go over the comment from Casey. He's been
Yeah.
making some very good comments here. He said, I would like to bring one more point, and this is what current mindset of people. People write automation code, but they do not put a debug point and debug it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, but I would like to counter this. Okay, and Casey, don't get me wrong. Okay, it may be a statement from somebody else that you compare. Okay? What is that you have done to teach that person how to put a debug point? They may not know, right? Like I was not knowing how to even identify objects in QTP and the other or descriptive programming, and I've been told by one very senior automation person when I switched to automation is that I don't know descriptive programming, right? So I understand that people don't know how to put a debug point. Please help them how to put a debug point.
No, that no, he's backed it up with another
Oh, is
point.
it? Okay.
Yeah, and he said that I would say a few mentors or trainers have spoiled the environment. Nowadays, testing training is more commercial rather than providing basics and guiding in the right way. Something that you mentioned, and Casey, I
So
I
I
know
will.
that you were listening and you wanted me to highlight the second point as well.
So
I
I'll
have
tell you one
Yeah.
thing. I'm stopping you there, okay? Because he hit the right string. Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Anybody can talk basics. Okay.
right.
What's going on in the market is that this is a tool training. This is how the tool works. This is the framework that you need. Nobody is talking about how to scale the framework. How can it integrate with different tech? How can it be utilized by somebody else also, or else another person will again create a framework, right?
Yeah.
How can my users use the framework? Okay, how can this framework be used in any other application? How can I talk about unification of framework? How can I put analytics in my framework?
Right.
Nobody is talking about scaling, but everybody will talk about what is selenium, what is x, what is y, what is z. Other person, what is x, what is y, what is z, what is selenium. I would encourage people to come closer as a group and as a community. Let's People tell me that people will not understand the advanced things that you talk about, right? But let's gather together and understand where are we taking this community. It is not about likes in your post. Okay, it is the value that you are generating for the community. And I'm very
Exactly.
sad to see. Okay, people may be doing because they have pride, and I respect that. Okay, but think from a community perspective, that what are you giving to the other person? That other person would look into the same set of content by somebody else. Okay, and and when he goes to the organization, you are not talking about implementation. You are talking about how are you can use the tool, but you don't talk about use cases that you can build on top of the tool or the framework. Talk about
Absolutely.
use cases to the people, so that the person who wants to learn from you, go and implement, should know what use cases can he put the solution onto.
Absolutely.
And this you can only have, rather than teaching, go back and do some work experience before you actually teaching people. And I'm
Absolutely.
sorry to use some hard languages here,
No, no, no,
and
no.
people will not feel very offended with this, but
No,
people
I
will
think you're
will have
absolutely
some
right.
work experience a bit. But think about, so Brijesh, you remember when I started my consulting, like when I started trainings, right? I was being told by somebody that you do trainings. I said no, I will not do training, because if I don't do projects, how would I train people?
Right.
So what you actually do is train, 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 train. Where are the use cases?
It's about getting your own hands dirty before you actually, and
Why do we learn data structure and algorithm first? And why do we go to lead code, hacker rank on all these websites? You get a problem, you use a data structure and an algorithm to solve it, right? If I only know the tech, and if I'm not using it against a problem, I will not learn how to use it. I'm sorry.
no, I think that's a very comprehensive answer, and I want to bring uh, a very important point that you raised about working for the community, giving it back, and I want to tie it to one of your previous responses about the test chat community. First of all, thank you so much for being extremely supportive of the test chat community and for sharing your thoughts and your ideas with the community. Now, with the community, our focus has been to give platform to a lot of testers, to bring them forward, young and old, all alike. People have learned from experienced testers. Some young testers have done so well. Now, one classic example I want to give you. There is a current series, a webinar series that is going on, and that webinar series is on AWS. A lot of
Okay.
people may think, oh, AWS, what's the big deal? What has it got to do with testing? Well, well, the moment you start thinking about DevOps, you start thinking about CI/CD. Cloud comes into picture. Okay, just giving an example, and most of the businesses have migrated from an on-premise implementation to a cloud implementation. So cloud is, you know, as they say in Sanskrit, yatra tatra sarvatra. It's everywhere, right? So getting, if somebody is willing to give you a 20 session webinar on AWS for free, why wouldn't you take it? You
I
know,
will learn.
and consistently, this girl Jyoti Mishra, she is doing this series with us consistently each week. She's doing, she's talking about a subject. She's doing a hands-on. Okay, you can actually do it along with her, and that's how you can learn. And she's helping. She's got certified. She's saying, if I'm certified, let me help other people do
Correct.
it. And like you said, you mentioned about the heart being in the right place, doing the good deeds, that people will get noticed. She got noticed. She got noticed, and she is doing a keynote at Step In this year.
So, yeah.
So we talk about platforms, we talk about opportunities, and that is what Test Chat does. So, you know, This is a great example, and Jyoti has set a great example for everybody. That for somebody, I have known Jyoti also for quite some time, for many years, and she was this shy girl who wouldn't talk to me as well. You know, it took me a lot of effort to actually get her going, and things changed after she appeared on Tester Speak.
Mm.
She appeared on Tester Speak, and she just turned things around. After that she appeared on one of our WIT episodes. Then she started doing seminars for her company, speaking in her team events, and now she's doing a keynote at Step In. Isn't that progress? That is. And now she's doing a 20 episode free webinar for everybody on AWS at the expense of her time.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody was telling me 2 days back, he called me to understand how am I doing. Okay. And he told me that, Soumya, you're super awesome. You're so, the innovation that you bring are fabulous, fantabulous. Okay. Whenever I will put something like that, I don't think that whether I'll get laurels for it. I just do it because I love to do it.
Yeah.
I have a passion of doing it, I do it. It is as simple as that. If somebody, I can be very easily become a manager and sit and relax. Okay, but I still write code. And I tell people, if you don't do, no, I will help you to do it. Because, and believe me, Brijesh, the traits, I will not boast myself, but I do not have a single attrition, okay, in my group till the time I'm there, only because we have a habit, you and I, are similar. We have a habit to support people and bring the team along. Don't we thrash people? Yes, we have to do it, right? If they do it incorrectly, but then we'll explain them that why did we do this? Why did we say like that? Okay, so it's always noticed how you are taking people along, what your comments are, how you are commenting, okay,
How you are responding to comments,
how you are responding to comments.
how you are
If
responding to
people,
criticism.
if
There
you
is.
are if you are being stopped at something, people even know don't come back and say that why have you said like that. Okay, what should I learn out of it? Okay, let's take me in that respect. One of my mentor told me, I was like, I was also in that group of likes, insights and all that stuff, right? My mentor told me, somewhere you focus on your innovation. You will not see me now doing much because I'm doing something in my background. So talk to your mentors, learn from them like that, and take the criticism positively. Okay, don't start justifying it. If somebody, I'm not saying that you can't tell me that how am I speaking in this chat live right now, right? You can always come and say that you were absolutely not good, right? And I will ask you that where do you think that I was not?
Right.
Okay. Where do you see me improving the next time? And then I will again do a webinar. Okay, to get that right feedback from him, saying that now that person told me that I was not good. That person now should say that you were good.
Right. 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 Okay. So there's this interesting question that I have. Something that you mentioned during the webinar. So you are a very young father.
Hmm.
What lessons have you learned
Hmm.
from being a
What
father that you can bring to your professional life?
I started becoming more happy from last 2 years. I'm the most happiest person, right? I If people do incorrect stuff with me, right, and I will not quote incorrect stuff, but I still I still feel happy. I may feel bad for some time, but I stay happy. Kids are always happy. I always ask this question. Kids are always happy at this age. What happens to them after 10 years, 12 years? Right? Why is the transformation from becoming happy to okay, he said me like that, he said me like that. Now if I like scold her, like probably she's too, right? She'll not even understand, she will forget. There's the one thing which I've learned from her is forget. Okay, that is one thing. Second is always be energetic and have that passion of doing whatever you are doing.
Like a magnet.
Right, correct. So they have the passion, they do it wholeheartedly. They will not they will make sure that they need what they need, they will get. These are the two things which I've learned apart from that patience, because these 2 years, they are the most crankiest of the people, right? So you have to have a lot of patience dealing with these people. Patience is another thing which I've learned. So if people like make sounds, in my ears, I keep patience.
Well, you have some very good days coming your way, because
Yeah.
when the questioning starts, like initially it will be, what is that, what is this, what is that, then it will go to, okay, how does this work and how does this, and then
Nice.
suddenly you will get a question, how did I come to this planet, so you will have to explain that.
Okay, good.
And
Yeah.
then it goes to the why questions, so that becomes a really dangerous territory. So because I am traversing through that right now, so I know, okay, suddenly there will be, okay, so there is a plane going, so you hear the sound, it's like, okay, how does an aeroplane do, so you mimic the sound of a plane. Now you have folded a paper, and you've noticed you folding a paper, so how does a paper do, so how do you make a paper's sound, okay, so that you have to explain. So he is now at the how stage, and I'm actually dreaded about the why stage, because then he will ask me, why does February have 28 days, okay, questions like that. So so just a word of caution, uh, it's coming. Okay, well, Soumya, so this was an amazing conversation with you. There was lots to learn from it. uh, it's always a pleasure talking to you. And Soumya and I have spoken at the weirdest hours of the day, night. I do not know what to call it. Okay, and we've had very lengthy conversations, and things that we discuss range from technology to philosophy to a lot of other things. And it is always so much fun talking to you, Soumya. Thank you so much for giving us your time and doing this AMA with us today.
Thank you very much, Brijesh, for the opportunity, and I would love to know the feedback. Okay, because uh, early feedback is important.
I think you were great, but we will wait for the audience to
And this, I'll tell you that nothing is right or wrong. I would say, like, it's like learning from the experience, and your experience may be different. My experience is something different. So I may not know what you have gone through, right? But I still learn a lot of things from the folks. So thank you very much, and love to do another aim.
Yeah,
I
we
can't
will.
stop talking.
Yeah, we will definitely plan another one. Thank you so much for doing this today. Fantastic. Thank you, and thank you to the audience.
Thank you.
Uh, Please share your. Maybe the next time, if you can do an open chat or open discussion, where did you
I
put?
can. I'm always ready.
Yeah, yeah. Open chat is always welcome. So we will probably do a Zoom call or something like that. where all of you can join in and
Yeah,
and ask Soumya your questions, and we have more faces on the screen. That's
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
Soumya is quite used to that, so
See,
so
I'll
that
tell you, I would only answer things which I know, and I will not speculate. Okay, and if I speculate, I'll tell you that I speculate. Okay, because I know that it can change somebody's life. It may not, it may destroy somebody's life.
Mhm.
If I am giving a statement that has to be, I'm responsible for it, right? If I'm training somebody, I'm responsible for the person. You should
Right.
just not train.
Yeah, it's very important to take responsibility of the things that you say, of the things that you do. So I think that's a very fair.
You can train, you can get a job, you get likes. Does not make sense because the life starts after that. And how are you getting supported is the thing. Anyways,
If I started counting the likes or the number of comments, then I would be sitting in one corner and crying all day. So
absolutely.
I don't want to be even thinking about it. So, yeah, Sachin is right. Soumya has been a part of our meetups, and those were opportunities for us to have him, in an open discussion.
Do
We
we have a
need to.
tomorrow? Do we have tomorrow?
We No, we don't have one tomorrow. We will start scheduling a season three soon. After 15th August, it kind of there were a series of festivals, so we will wait for the festivals to get over and then do an uninterrupted weekend meetups because we need to get that
I
going.
Yeah, I want to say one more point. I would like to do some talks about talk to people and understand where are they in the automation or whatever it is, and how they can scale it up
Yeah.
and can be beneficial for the organization. Okay? So we'll talk about some engineering stuff, interesting stuff, right? Uh,
Okay, so
so
let's
that
let's let's do this,
Nah,
Soumya. Let's do this, Soumya. No, no, you just. So I was just having an idea, and you've just given it wings. Let me put it that way. So let's do a poll first. Understand from people, where they are, at what stage they are, and then accordingly do a similar session. A combination of a webinar slash Q&A or AMA, where you can provide direction or solution to a lot of their problems. And you're absolutely right about scalability. Nobody is talking about it. Not a lot of people are talking about scaling your automation solutions. Not a lot of people are talking about the engineering side of things. I mean, see, if we look at, just to give you an example and correct my understanding here, Soumya, there is a culture part to DevOps, and there is this engineering and infrastructure part as well. Now, people do not understand that there are these three different aspects within DevOps. Okay, they just look at the tools. Okay, have you learned Docker? Have you learned Kubernetes? And that is the language in which people generally talk,
and
right?
what the people would do still do, they will still run their tests serially. Okay, still they have Docker and Kubernetes, but they will run it serially. Okay. My question to them obviously is that why are you not? So
Yeah.
this is the question that people ask me. 4 hours of execution time, how can reduce it to one? Let's talk about that. You get me? So talk about some stuff which we can bring into our day to day stuff. Okay, and decrease the time of what we're doing.
Well, yeah, those are some very interesting things. So let's do this, Soumya. Let me connect with you. Get a questionnaire ready for everybody. Let them answer those questions. Let us get some data before
So
we plan a session with you again.
uh,
All
we
right.
can
So
we can always have an open discussion where
yeah,
people can start talking. Share experiences. Like
yeah,
for an example, if somebody is doing some use case, beautiful use case, let's learn about it.
Okay, let's plan that. So let's work on a plan and schedule
So
something very soon.
yeah. So to the audience, I'm not hijacking, but I'm saying to the audience, when Brijesh and I talk, we always talk about the next thing, next thing, next thing, next thing. We always do that, and then we try to see how we can accomplish next, next, and next. We always do that. Okay, we never leave our conversation in a closed friend ki bas ho gaya, will not talk.
Yeah,
So that's a beautiful thing.
yeah, and this has helped me immensely because there are a lot of things that I've been able to do. In fact, a lot of things within TTC has come as a result of my conversations with Soumya. So yeah, so if I start making a list, it'll probably be tomorrow morning. Till tomorrow morning, I'll be still making the list.
Somebody was telling me 2 days back that you don't allow people to sleep. M- Till the time the solution is achieved, I will not sleep. It's like it's the nature that I am in
Yeah,
all these
likewise.
years.
So likewise. So yeah.
Anyways, I
Anyway,
think the conversation would go on and on and on.
anyways, yeah. So thank you to the audience for staying up so late. It's past 10 o'clock in India, and Soumya, your little one also must be waiting for you. So
Slept.
slept. Okay, cool. Success. Mission accomplished for the day.
So why do you think that I spent 1.5 hours?
Oh, I didn't think about it. All right, all right, good.
Cool.
All
Okay.
right,
Thank you very much, guys, and
thank you,
thank you, Brijesh, for
and
hosting me.
we'll see you soon in another
Yeah,
discussion.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
People will not feel good about the conversation, but yeah, that's a hidden truth.
All right. All
Yeah.
right.
Bye.
Thanks, Soumya. Thanks.
See ya.